We got a red dot, folks. Welcome back to Akron and Northeast Ohio's hottest and fastest growing show, 330 Gong host Hank, and I'm coming to you live, and we are in Springfield, Lakemore, Akron. All of the above in a fun little mix, and he'll explain that to you in just a minute. All right? But right now, I'm here with Travis. Travis, how are you?
Thank you, sir. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having us in, and we're going to share this story today. All right, so let me bring this up to make sure I can monitor stuff and if anybody has any input or questions. All right, so the first question I always ask people is, tell us about you. Tell us your 330 story.
Yeah, so, I was born in Akron, Ohio, raised in Akron, in the inner city until I was about 10, 11, 12. We moved out here to Springfield Township. I graduated from Springfield High School. My wife also graduated from Springfield High School. And after high school, I went to the Marine Corps, spent 4 years of active duty in the Marine Corps, 2 years in active reserves. After I got out of the Marine Corps, started working at Roadway Express as a dock worker in 1988. And then in 1996, I started working full-time for the Teamsters Union as a full-time rep. And in 1999, I took over as president and principal officer of Teamsters Local 24 in Akron.
Okay.
And I've been in that position ever since.
All right, so you're very involved in your community, growing up here. All right, so now tell us about where we're at. All right, so and by the way, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it, Marine Corps. All right. Now, hold on, let me bring this up, make sure we're good. Yep, we're live. All right, so there's always a backstory when it comes to a facility like this, okay? And yes, we're here to share this story as well, but in the last few weeks, we've actually done almost like a series on addiction and overcoming addiction. We've been with a couple other organizations like this, as well as I got to see that movie over the weekend, the 26.2, about running the marathon in San Quentin. And those were all people that were recovering from crimes in prison that they had committed because of addictions, all right? So I guess the next question naturally is, this facility is named after Tyler. So why don't you tell us some of that story, whatever you're willing to share.
Yeah. So, just taking a little bit further, my wife and I, like I said, we both went to Springfield High School. We started dating actually when I was in 8th grade and she was in 9th grade. And we went together all through junior high and high school. We broke up several times and stuff, but we always got back together. And, we got married. We moved out to Hartville. That's where we currently live, in Hartville. And she had a good job. I had a good job, and we were just living life. And Tyler was our first son, and he was the oldest. And we also had 2 girls, Hannah and Taylor. And listen, I want to kind of say we had the perfect life, but I mean, it's not perfect, but it was perfect for me, right? We both had good jobs. We were played by the rules, went to church, active in community, coaching sports and all those things. And honestly, things were just awesome for us as a family. Just your typical middle-class family, right, in Northeast Ohio. But ultimately with Tyler, what had happened is Tyler had broke his right arm 4 times. And he ended up having 2 surgeries on his right elbow. So the first surgery was at age 11. And the second surgery was at age 18, and ultimately he got addicted to the opiate prescription pain pills, which led him to heroin. 4 out of 5 heroin users first began with the use of opiate prescription pain pills, okay? So once we found out he was addicted to pain pills and then heroin, the next 6 years of our life looked like recovery, relapse, in and out of treatment facilities. I didn't understand addiction. I was the typical parent that said things like, hey, we didn't raise you this way. What are you doing? All that kind of stuff, which has nothing to do with nothing, okay? But I was ignorant in the space. And so we learned some real hard lessons about recovery and about the disease of addiction and substance use. To kind of just bring it to a head, ultimately what happened On September 28th of 2014, Tyler was in the process of overdosing, and the person he was with, instead of calling 911 for help, dumped him in a field and left him there to die. The next day, the Summit County Sheriff showed up at our house and proceeded to tell my wife and 17-year-old daughter that a resident found a dead body in a vacant lot, and it was our 23-year-old son.
I, for some reason, vaguely remember that story. I do. That 9 years ago.
Yeah, almost. Yep.
Yeah, I for some reason that does ring a bell.
Yeah.
All right, so sorry about your loss on
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, at that point now, obviously you're now dealing with this as a family. Okay, and now there's a next step. There has to be something that happens for us to be here now. So
Yeah.
talk us through that process. What
Yeah.
we're on
So ultimately, a lot of this was generated based on my younger daughter. She was a senior in high school when Tyler passed, and Tyler was the third young man from Hartville that passed away within a year to an overdose. And so my daughter was working with the guidance counselor and two other girls who lost their big brother, going to kind of share with the community. And so my daughter did that. At this point, I'm embarrassed, I'm ashamed, nobody knows what's going on with Tyler. I could barely talk about it with my wife. All my friends, none of my buddies, none of my colleagues knew what was going on. Of course, they found out probably the same way you did on the newspaper and on the TV, right? And so my daughter was sharing our story, and as I said in the audience, very proud of my daughter sharing her story, actually having more guts than her father at that point. It really triggered me to no longer be silent on the issue. So my youngest daughter, Taylor, she kind of led the charge for this. So we formed a Facebook page, started talking. These girls would go out and speak at different schools the rest of her senior year. So through that, we formed a nonprofit called Hope United.
Okay.
That was in 2016. And then we started, so basically Hope United is founded on three pillars: education, support, and recovery. So the education piece is we get out and we share our story throughout the community, churches, employers, and talking about the overprescribing of opiates and talk about the disease of addiction and substance use, right? The support piece is we have tons of support group meetings. We have meetings for families that have lost a child or a loved one. And then the recovery piece is this. This is called an RCO, a Recovery Community Organization.
Okay.
And the name of the RCO is Tyler's Redemption Place, after our son. So we formed the nonprofit in 2016, and so also in 2016, the Teamsters Union, we have our national convention every 5 years, and it was in 2016. So I wrote a letter to our general president and basically just said something like, hey, as union leaders, we're also community leaders, and there's nothing impacting our communities than the overprescribing of opiates and substance use, right? And so he gave me a chance to speak at our convention. So at our convention, I shared our story. I kind of told Tyler's story. I kind of shared about our nonprofit and what our goals were. And after I got done speaking, delegates from all across the country started coming to the mic and making donations to support our nonprofit. First donation was $5K, second donation was $10,000, third donation was $50,000. In an hour and a half, we raised $1.3 million.
Okay.
So that's how we got the money.
Okay. And now, so when did this happen?
Yeah, so it took us 7 years from 2016 to 2023 to actually get this built. And so there's lots of reasons for that because, originally we were really driven on a commercial building. This property was donated. This is 10 acres here. It was donated by Summit County. The Summit County Exec and Summit County Council donated the property to us. So there was lots of hoops we had to jump through, lots of things we had to do with the property to get it ready to build. But initially we were going to build even a bigger facility than this, but we couldn't continue to raise the money. So ultimately, and then COVID happens.
And then COVID. I mean, it's always part of these stories.
That's right.
COVID.
And so the whole world fell apart, and that was about the third time that our project fell apart. And so I just went back to our executive board and said, listen, we've got $1 million in the bank. We can build a hell of a nice house for $1 million. And so the executive board agreed. And so then Shelly and I kind of sat back down and said, hey, we just don't want to build a house. What would we build if it was ours, right? And so that's why we landed on the log cabin.
Okay.
And so,
well, it's beautiful. All right. So I think it's time. Why don't we take a look around? You want to take a look around?
Yeah.
We got a couple other people back in the wings over here. Get ready to talk too, right?
Yeah. So we have my wife Shelly. She's the executive director of Hope United, and then we also have Laura, and she's our education and outreach director. So they can kind of help us and assist us a little bit with the tour. But the space you're in right now is just a great room, just a great space for community. Fireplace, wood burning fireplace. We play games. There's a puzzle sitting here, and so this is just a great space to sit down, chill out. We have a piano. We have a couple guitars, and sometimes people come in and they play that stuff a little bit too. One of the things I would like to point out, and you'll see this throughout the home, this is actually our son Tyler. But we have some other families that have come alongside us and helped raise money for us. And you'll see these type of plaques and areas set up in honor of their son or daughter. So what Shelly decided to do, instead of like just putting up a plaque and saying, hey, this space is in honor of whoever, she decided to come up with pictures and giving families a chance to show their family. And it's been a real blessing. And we obviously, have great relationships with these families. So, yeah.
All right, so let's say hi to our ladies over here, and they'll kind of take it from here in terms of giving us a little tour. Let me set down my tablet. Guys, how are you?
Good.
Introduce yourselves.
I'm Shelly Bornstein. I'm Tyler's mom, and I'm the executive director here at Hope United, Tyler's Redemption Place.
Okay.
I'm Laura Broyles. I'm the education and outreach director here at Tyler's Redemption Place.
All right, so what show us around. What do we got behind you guys?
Okay, so behind us is the kitchen. We do lots of events where we have recovery dinners, meals. Our candy dish is a highlight. We always have candy when people come in for meetings. We have a coffee bar here with all kinds of syrups and Keurigs and hot chocolate. And then over there is a space where people can sit down and have lunch, have a meal, play games, work, do whatever they want.
Okay. One of the things that you mentioned to me back in our first ever phone call was about this place where it is accepting of walk-ins. Can you talk us through that?
Sure, yes. As of September, we opened as a drop-in for certified peer support. We have 2 peer supporters on staff, Brian and Maggie. They're awesome. And basically during our open hours, which is Monday, 1 to 7, Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 7, and then Saturdays, 8:30 to 4:30. Anybody who is in need of any type of help or assistance, maybe they need treatment or help with like a recovery plan, or just need somebody to talk to, they can drop in and talk to one of our peer supporters during that time.
And, we like to use a lot of cliches when we're talking about this kind of stuff, but this is that time of year, right? You got a lot of people that go through the holidays. They deal with all kinds of different depression issues. And then on top of that, you start the new year and you want to set your new goals and you say, I want to get out of this lifestyle. So is this a busier time of year for you guys? I just off the cuff?
Well, we've been consistently growing since we opened up. So to try to put that in perspective, in April, when we had our grand opening, we had about 400 people come through the facility in the month of April. Our peak month was September, which is recovery month. We had over 1,100 people come through the facility. And so to average that out, we're averaging about 700 people a month coming through the facility, either for meetings, either for wellness programs, to talk to a peer supporter, to sit, hang out, and so forth.
And I know there's a lot of data, and I know a lot of people interpret it differently, and it can be very confusing. But are a lot of these people where they get in the program and they stay, or are there a lot of one and dones? Like, is there a thought?
So here's what's a little bit unique about an RCO and Tyler's Redemption Place. So we are not a treatment facility. So we pick up after somebody goes to treatment. So the way we kind of describe it is, if you go into a 30-day treatment program, that's like A and B in the alphabet. It's our objective to get you to Z, right? Long-term recovery. And so that's where the RCO comes in, is we come along and we walk with folks to help them get to long-term recovery. So as an example, we have people coming to meetings that's been in recovery for 25 years. We have other people that's been in recovery for 30 days. And so you get that intermingle, people peer on peer, and that additional help that you need to be able to work to long-term recovery.
All right. So, anything else you guys want to show? Let's take a walk.
Oh yeah. Go back through that way real quick, and then we'll go
Show that
upstairs
coffee
real
bar
fast.
real quick. All right.
This is the computer nook. If anybody needs access to a computer, printer, needs to work on a resume, check emails, anything like that, they can do that.
Okay.
This is just a little mud room going into our larger support group meeting.
Oh, wow.
So this is our multi-purpose room, and we can do pretty much anything. We do a lot of recovery meetings in here. We've had a Bereaved Mother's Day tea. We've had different events, trainings. We had a peer support training back in, I believe, August, September.
So in addition to that, like Laura said, we can have recovery dinners. We actually watched the Browns game here on Saturday.
Ooch.
That was a
We need recovery from that.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. But and then we also have a TV that, again, we can show movies, we can show games, but we also set up that we can do training in here, PowerPoint presentations, and so forth. We can get about 50 people in this space.
Okay.
We also do some yoga, drumming classes, some breath classes, things like that for wellness.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's why we call it multi-purpose room.
Okay. Want to peek upstairs real quick?
Yeah, hit them all.
All right. Heading on up.
And then we got two main rooms after the loft. We got to show there. I know.
Okay. You can see, folks, if you're watching right now, you can see just the ornate woodwork all throughout the facility. Very warming environment. Let me get a shot real quick from up above of the great room. Look at that. There's the balcony out there.
Yeah, the deck wraps around the whole house. So this is our loft library space. And so basically, this was a residential home. So there was bedrooms up here. We basically took out the closets and called them offices. So we have 2 offices on that side, 2 offices on this side, and then a restroom. But this space we're in is our library loft. We have tons of books that's been donated to us. We give those free to folks in recovery. And then this space here is just some quiet space, sit, chill out, little meetings. But you can also play some games. We have a chess club, and just, great space to kind of take a deep breath.
Okay. And I see there's a couple there are the little office rooms. Are those offices for your personnel and your staff, or do other folks use them?
Yeah, so that's our staff.
Okay.
Yeah, so for instance, this office here is where our peer supporters are, Maggie and Brian right now. And
Okay.
yeah.
We don't have to bug them.
Yeah.
All right, so let me flip around over here. All right, so tell us, guys, how do people get involved? How do they find your information? Where can they find it? And more importantly, you kind of went over hours of operation, but what are some programs coming up that you want to pub a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can find us on Facebook at hopeunited.life. We're on Instagram and LinkedIn as well. You can also go to our website, hopeunited.life. If you look under what we do and go to Tyler's Redemption Place, there's a calendar of any events, activities, pretty much anything going on each day.
Yeah, so one of the things we always talk about for folks to help get them to long-term recovery is you got to treat the entire person, mind, body, spirit, in a community setting, right? So COVID taught us, we all got sick when we were isolated, right? We all need each other. So everything we do here is generated your mind, body, spirit in a community setting. So our wellness programs, we have Bible studies, we have lots and lots of different programming going on. As Laura spoke, cardio drumming, yoga, we have breathing, we have a salt cave in the facility, and we have a really cool garage gym to help people with all of that.
All right. Well, listen, I really appreciate you guys helping us in terms of being able to share your story. And we'll work with you to help promote certain events as we move forward. That's all I got from here. We're going to be going live here to one of our sports programs here in just a little bit. But as we move forward, folks, if, again, it's that time of year. If you feel you need help in any way, reach out. There are so many of these organizations, and they're all local, and they're all community driven, and they're all here to try and help you. So if you need that help, don't ever hesitate to reach out to a place like this, okay? Once again, they're going to put all their information into the comment sections, and we will share that additional information as well moving forward. That's all I got for now. Everybody, take care, folks. Have a good night, everybody. And everybody out there, say good night, Shirley.
Good night, Shirley.